All right, welcome back to another episode of Chip Theory. Today we're going to be discussing another Lydian modal scale. This time we've got the chips laid out starting on G flat at the far left. G flat is the far left of our group of three blue chips, or the black keys you might see on a piano keyboard. So here we have them laid out in chromatic fashion: G flat, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, and F. Now, when we're discussing our Lydian mode, the Lydian mode is the fourth mode of our major scale, and it is a mode known for its sharp 4 note. When compared to the major scale, we have a sharp 4, and that one note will make quite a difference for the modal scale, for the chords within the key, if we were to consider G flat Lydian its own key and its own scale. So the first thing we need to realize is the pattern for Lydian modal scales. Now the pattern is going to be a whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. And that is our Lydian mode pattern. Again, since we're starting on the fourth degree of our major scale, we're going to have 5 half steps from the relative major to the first note of our Lydian scale, which means that the Lydian modal scale starts on that after the first half step of the major scale formula, where it has the group of 3 whole tones. So we simply say whole, 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 half, whole, whole, half is back to our 4th degree of the major scale. So that being our pattern, the second thing we need to realize is the relative major key that the G flat Lydian scale is going to be relative to in terms of the scale of the key of which the mode is derived from. And the way we do that is simply count 5 half steps down from G flat to reach our relative major key. So here we have our G flat at the right, and we count down 5 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This gives us the D flat note here. Now D flat is going to be the relative major key of G flat Lydian, since G flat is a 4th degree of a D flat major scale. So we can simply bring G flat back to its position here. And you can see, since there's 5 half steps in this direction, there's going to be 7 from this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to our D flat relative major note. It also means that the D flat is going to fall on the 5th degree of a G flat Lydian scale. And that goes for all Lydian keys where your relative major is the 5 note of whatever Lydian scale you're on. We could just play the D flat major scale starting on G flat to reach our G flat Lydian mode, or we could use the pattern that we described before as a whole step, another whole step. Here's whole, whole, whole. Here's our half step, and a whole step, and the final half step would be from F to G flat. This gives us our G flat Lydian mode, a whole, 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 half, ascending. Now, of note is the pattern. A whole, whole, half, whole, half is the pattern descending. Half, whole, half, whole is our Locrian modal pattern. So we know, if we realize this, we know if we have our Lydian mode memorized, we also have our Locrian scale mode, because it's simply the inverse pattern. So our Lydian is whole, half, half. The Locrian is going to be the inverse, half, half, whole. So Lydian is inverse with Locrian modes. Let's remove the notes that are not in our Lydian modal scale. This gives us the notes of our G flat Lydian: G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, and F. That's easy enough to see if we consider G flat our key note and its relative major key of G flat. We would have the C would be flatted. So what we've done here is simply raise the fourth degree here of the G flat major scale to a C natural. That's a sharp 4 formula. So instead of C flat, we have C natural. So the fourth note of a G flat major scale has been raised from C flat to C. Here's D flat. This is our relative major note of the relative major key, D flat major. You can see 5 flats of D flat major, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. You can also see the D flat major scale if we were to move our degrees of the G flat Lydian down here. We have our D flat major scale in its Ionian mode position. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, and C. And if we were to number these notes, giving our D flat major scale degree numbers, we could simply say D flat is number 1, E flat is 2, F is 3, G flat is 4, A flat is 5, B flat is 6, and C is 7. Which I would recommend you do for all of your major scales, is to go ahead and give those scale degrees numbers in their Ionian position. That way when we shift over to our Lydian position, we can simply see we've started on the fourth degree, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, and 3 of our relative major key, D flat. So here is our scale note. Our key note here is G flat. Realizing this, if we can remember the scale degrees, we're starting on 4, 6, root for our triads. We're going to use alternating notes of our G flat Lydian scale. So here our notes will be G flat, B flat, and D flat, the 4, 6 root of our relative major, which is a major triad. Our second triad of G flat Lydian will be 5, 7, 2, which is also major, A flat, C, and E flat. Our third triad will be 6, root, and 3 from a relative major. The relative major was D flat. So we have B flat, D flat, and F, which is a minor triad. Here for our sharp 4 position of Lydian, we have C natural, E flat, and G flat. Again, this is our 7, 2, 4 from our relative major. Here on the fourth sharp 4 position, C, E flat, G flat, which is a diminished triad. Our 5 chord is the root, 3rd, and 5th of our relative major, D flat, F, and A flat. Again, that's a major triad, D flat, F, A flat. Here on the 6th triad of G flat Lydian, we have the 2, 4, 6 degrees, E flat, G flat, and B flat, which is a minor triad. And our 7th triad is the 3, 5, 7 triad, which is minor. From D flat, it will be F, A flat, and C natural, or an F minor triad. Realizing these triads on these scale degrees are qualities of the, again, our qualities of the triads are a major, major, minor, a sharp 4, a diminished, a major 5, minor on the 6, and minor for the 7 of our Lydian mode. We can also determine the 7th chords of our Lydian key using alternating scale tones and adding an extension of the fourth note for each chord. Here, on the 1 position, G flat Lydian, we have the 4/6 root third, G flat, B flat, D flat, and F. This is a G flat major 7 chord for our G flat Lydian mode. And it's going to have a 2+1 interval for its minor third here between the B flat and D flat. Again, B flat to C is 2 and C to D flat is 1, so I call this a 2+1 for the scale. Our second position, 7th chord, is 5/7-2/4 dominant 7 of D flat, A flat, C, E flat, and G flat. Again, E flat to G flat is your minor third above your A flat major triad. It gives you a 4/3/3 spacing. And the 5/7-2/4 degrees always have a 1+2 here and a 2+1 for this minor third interval. 1+2 and 2+1. Our third position, 7th chord, is the 6√3/5 of D flat, B flat, D flat, F, and A flat, or B flat minor 7. It's a 3/4/3 spacing. It's going to have a 2+1 here and a 1+2 for its minor thirds. Again, there's one of each. This being the 6th chord of your relative major, shifted over to the 3rd position of Lydian. In this case, G flat Lydian, or B flat minor 7. A 2+1 here and a 1+2 here. Our sharp 4 chord was the C natural, 7/2-4/6 scale degrees of D flat. So 7/2-4/6 is C, E flat, G flat, and B flat. G flat to B flat is a major third over a diminished triad. So we have a 3/3/4 spacing, which is a minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished, starting on the C. Again, the minor thirds here will have a 1+2 here and a 2+1 here. The 5 chord is major, the √3/5/7. This is our relative major, D flat, F, A flat, and C. It's a 4/3/4 spacing with a 1+2 for its minor third. Here's the 5th position of Lydian. Again, I'm speaking a lot about the relative major for the scale degrees, and in fact, the tonal center is going to be here on our G flat major 7 chord, so all of our chords will come back to G flat for the Lydian sound. This will be our tonal center. But we're using the scale degrees 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 2, 3 for the sake of ease of remembering the positions. Okay. So the 6th chord here is built on the 2/4/6 root of D flat, E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. E flat minor 7, it's a 3/4/3 position with 2+1 here and 2+1 here. Again, that will hold true for all chords of the 2/4/6 root scale degrees. All right, the 2 chord of relative major always has 2+1s. It's a minor chord with 2+1s for its minor thirds. The 7th position of Lydian will have the 3/5/7/2, which is F, A flat, C, and E flat. And these scale degrees, if you can remember, 3/5/7/2 will always have 1+2s for its minor thirds. So although these two chords are the same quality of minor thirds, This one has 2 plus 1s between its intervals, and this one has a 1 plus 2. Again, the minor third here for the third chord of Lydian, or the sixth chord of Ionian, has a 2 plus 1 here and a 1 plus 2 here. So these are going to be your chords of G flat Lydian. Again, you'll have the major 7, dominant 7, a minor 7, a half diminished 7, a major 7, a minor 7, and a minor 7. Across the bottom was our 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 2, 3 scale degrees. The second row, you have the Aeolian mode, 6, 7, root, 2, 3, 4, 5. The third, on the fifths, you have the Ionian mode. Here's your D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, or root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And across the sevenths, you have the Phrygian mode, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. So those are also modes as well. We can discuss now the, assuming the scale degrees do not change, we can discuss the inversions of these chords here. Here on our 1 chord, we have the major 7. We're also going to discuss the position, the spacing of the relative spacing between the intervals. This being a 4, 3, 4. When we invert G flat, B flat, D flat, F, or a major 7, we have a 3, 4, 1 position, G flat major 7, and 3, 4, 1 inversion. Starting on B flat, D flat, F, and G flat. Here we have a 4, 1, 4 starting on D flat, F, G flat, B flat, to our 1, 4, 3, F, G flat, B flat, and D flat. Coming down is D flat, B flat, G flat, F, B flat, D flat, F, B flat, G flat, F, D flat, G flat, F, D flat, B flat, and F, D flat, B flat, G flat, or G flat major 7. Again, our second position chord of Lydian is a dominant 7. This is a A flat, C, E flat, G flat, a 4, 3, 3 spacing. We invert our A flat up. It leaves us the 3, 3, 2 for dominant 7 chords, starting on C, E flat, G flat, A flat, to our 3, 2, 4 inversion, E flat, G flat, A flat, C, to our 2, 4, 3 position, starting on G flat, A flat, C, E flat. Coming down is E flat, C, A flat, G flat, C, A flat, G flat, E flat, A flat, G flat, E flat, C, and G flat, E flat, C, A flat, for A flat dominant 7, the 2 chord of G flat Lydian. Our third position chord is a minor 7, B flat, D flat, F, A flat. It's a 3, 4, 3 position. We invert it, raise our B flat to the top. We have a 4, 3, 2, starting on D flat, F, A flat, B flat, to a 3, 2, 3, starting on F, A flat, B flat, D flat, to our 2, 3, 4, starting on A flat, B flat, D flat, and F. Coming down is F, D flat, B flat, A flat, D flat, B flat, A flat, F, B flat, A flat, F, D flat, and A flat, F, D flat, B flat. Our sharp 4 chord was our half diminished, C half diminished 7, C, E flat, G flat, B flat. It's a 3, 3, 4 spacing. When we invert it, we have a 3-4-2 for half diminished chords. 3-4-2 spacing starting on E flat, E flat, G flat, B flat, C, to our 4-2-3 position starting on G flat, B flat, C, E flat, to our 2-3-3 position starting on B flat, C, E flat, and G flat. Coming down is G flat, E flat, C, B flat, E flat, C, B flat, G flat, C, B flat, G flat, E flat, and B flat, G flat, E flat, C for a sharp 4 half diminished chord. Our 5 chord of Lydian was our relative major, D flat, F, A flat, C. It's a 4-3-4 position. Inverting this gives us a 3-4-1 starting on F, F, A flat, C, D flat, A flat, C, D flat, F, our 4-1-4 position, to our 1-4-3, C, D flat, F, A flat. Coming down is A flat, F, D flat, C, F, D flat, C, A flat, and D flat, C, A flat, F. Root position, C, A flat, F, D flat. Okay, our 6th chord was our minor 7, E flat, minor 7, E flat, G flat, B flat, D flat. Minor 7s are 3-4-3 spacing. When we invert it, it's a 4-3-2 position, starting on G flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, to our 3-2-3, starting on B flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, G flat, to a 2-3-4, starting on D flat, E flat, G flat, and B flat. Coming down is B flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, G flat, and D flat, B flat, G flat, and E flat. Finally, our 7th chord is our F minor 7, F, A flat, C, E flat, a 3-4-3. When we invert it, we have our 4-3-2 starting on A flat, C, E flat, F, to our 3-2-3 starting on C, E flat, F, A flat, to our 2-3-4 starting on E flat, F, A flat, C. Coming down is C, A flat, F, E flat, A flat, F, E flat, C, F, E flat, C, A flat, and E flat, C, A flat, F. Again, these are the chords of a G flat Lydian modal scale. We had G flat major 7, A flat dominant, B flat minor 7, C half diminished 7, D flat major 7, E flat minor 7, and F minor 7. Those are going to be your chords of your scale of G flat Lydian, a modal scale.